The Comedy Store would like you to know that the views and opinions expressed on this podcast are strictly those of the speakers or authors and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by the Comedy Store and its affiliates.
Have we started?
In theory, yeah.
You do, you be you.
We're punk rock,
You
so
do you.
our intros are generally about 3 to 5 minutes in.
Mine too.
And it's like, oh wait, are we?
Yeah.
This is
Start
our
talking
podcast.
like, oh yeah, we're going.
Yeah, guys, this is the Comedy Store podcast. I think you figured that out by the fact that we were talking and didn't tell you what it was. But they know what's going on.
And they clicked on
Lack
it.
of professionalism. Yes, they clicked on
They
it.
did click on it and start listening.
That's a bait click, Comedy Store, and then they're like,
Yep.
Oh.
We have to trick them with like a
Tricky, yeah.
17 crazy death stories, and then they click on it, and then our podcast starts. They're like, what?
Hey guys, what's up?
But at that point, they're already hooked.
We're just
Yeah.
hanging out.
We are, and we have the amazing Tom Papa. This is very
Yeah.
exciting.
That makes you sound like a magician.
Hey,
I
now,
guess you're right.
I do have a headshot floating around out there that I was like leaning into the camera and I had a suit and tie on, and my glare, my gaze, it looks like a magician. It looks so bad.
Is
And
this
it's
early on or
it's probably 10 years ago,
new? Oh, okay.
and it follows me for some reason everywhere I go.
Everywhere you
That's
go,
what they
look.
pick off the
Oh.
internet to make a poster out of. Just me. I'm like, well, I would never go see that guy.
America disagrees.
I would not go see that guy.
America's like, whoa, look at that. He might be a magician. There might be comedy and tricks.
There might be
There's
tricks.
going to be juggling. in this, for
Illusions.
sure. He's definitely going to juggle. Your special that's on, is it Epics?
It's on Hulu and Amazon and Epics
Epics
and
is where I saw
iTunes. Yeah, it's everywhere.
Amazon is where you also have a show on, correct?
I have a show that I wrote for. Yeah.
Right, you wrote.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I don't know how to get to Amazon.
Yeah,
But it's
Amazon's.
with Epics.
I like to go on outlets that are very difficult to find.
But they're not difficult to find. I'm just lazy.
It depends on what you're into. Like the people that have Epics that love Epics, but those are different from the Hulu people. And the Hulu people look at Amazon like, oh, I thought that's where I got my toothpaste from.
I don't even know how to get to Hulu either. I'm terrible.
Isn't it
I
funny?
have Netflix. Do you do all that?
I
Like
do all of
Amazon?
them.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
You're good. Well, you have kids.
I have kids.
They hook you up.
I don't watch that much myself, frankly, but yeah, the kids, I just,
Because
they just complain. They're like,
We don't have.
we
the
can't
new
get that. We can't get Black Mirror. All right. Oh, we can't get Stranger Things. All right. Dad, we can't see the things on Hulu. All
Black
right.
Mirror.
So just get all
I
of
heard
it.
about
How old
that.
are your kids?
14 and 11.
Nice.
Damn. They're
Yeah.
already smarter than me. I tried to watch Black Mirror. I have no idea what was going on.
Really?
I love it.
Yeah, people do.
I haven't watched it.
It's
yet.
good. It's like a Twilight Zone kind of thing.
Yeah, and then like each episode doesn't. You don't have to see the one before it necessarily.
No, totally like the old school Twilight Zones.
Yeah,
And they're
okay.
all freestanding, but a little, modern twist to it. There's some really good ones.
Yes, I came into an episode my wife was watching. About 10 minutes in, I was just like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
And then instead of being like, "Hey, could you explain it to me?" Because I didn't want her to think I'm dumber than I clearly am. I just was like, "Oh, I love this episode."
He already got her. So.
How long
Yeah.
you been married?
Almost 4 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
He's in
It's
a
new.
newborn world right now.
Oh, yeah?
yeah,
How old?
7 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's
Memory.
so far into the past.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
God.
Yeah, because you're 11 and 14. That's tweeny teens. That's
Yeah.
a tough one too. I mean, that's tougher.
No, that's tougher.
That's a lot easier.
That's so
but
much tougher.
You get more attitude from your side.
So what?
No, I
Attitude.
agree. It's much easier than.
As
You
comics.
want to talk shit. You want to give me
Yeah,
attitude.
they're gonna lose.
You want to You want to try and lie. I mean, come.
I've
I'm.
done it all before.
Yeah. I'm right there. I enjoy it. I enjoy watching you try. It's all good. But that age when you don't know what they're saying and you have
Can't figure it
and they're
out.
Yeah.
so needy. You're just so exhausted all the time.
Yeah, my wife works, so I'm like stay-at-home dad,
Oh,
and
my
I don't think
God.
I'm good at it at all.
And then you come out at night and do stand up.
Yeah,
That is such a long now at this point, don't you look at comedians like Bobby Lee or someone like that and you're like, he just woke up.
Yeah.
It's 9 o'clock at night.
He talks about waking up at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And I'm like, God, I've been up for days at that point.
Your comedy should be graded on a curve.
Yeah.
You should say that every time you get up there. I've been up since 5.
Yeah. True. I feel like my comedy is dependent on my level of rage. So in a lot of ways, it's almost like I've been given extra credit. Because I just am immediately angry. The crowd could be great. I'm immediately just like, fuck this crowd.
It does feed
parents. God bless parent comedians.
you. Now you're totally single?
I'm totally single, no kids.
Nice.
Yeah. I dated a guy for 5 years that had kids. So
Oh.
I kind of, and I'm still in their lives, but.
Right. For 5 years.
Still, you can
when they were
say
little?
They were 7 and 11.
7 and 11.
Favorite restaurant.
Yeah, that's good.
So, but they're a good age. That was a good age.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
they were
nice
7 and 11?
Isn't that crazy?
That's so crazy because they're adults and cool.
And
Yeah.
no, like.
Now they're 21 and 25.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, but Max he was like 25 always. He was
Pretty
like
much,
the quiet.
The older kid,
Yeah.
was like an old man, a little old man. Like his soul was so he would not like at kids' parties. We would go to school stuff, and he'd be with the adults, especially the comics. He loved.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
His dad was a comic. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like just to hang out in the comedy world.
Oh, that's great. That's what I like. I kept saying when mine was like 7 months old, I'm like, she's beautiful, she's great. I can't wait till I can sit in a diner with her.
Yeah.
And just have
There
a
you
lunch
go.
and talk for a while.
Yeah, that'll be sweet.
Yeah, it is sweet.
That sounds way
You have
better.
two
It'll
girls or-
come. 2 girls.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Oh, so you're surrounded.
Yeah. And I just had, and my sister-in-law just came down with her 2 daughters.
Oh, nice.
So there was literally 6 women in the
Lots of
house
family.
and me.
Yeah.
And it's
God
tough.
bless you.
Yeah, it really is. Like when they're little, you kind of like, oh, it's not a big deal, so I'm the only guy. And at this point, sometimes it's so overwhelming. The estrogen is just like, wow, I really don't belong here.
Yeah, I'm gonna tag out.
But it's kind of.
I'm getting stressed out just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because my mother-in-law and sister-in-law and niece are all coming to visit from Israel in
wow.
like 2 weeks, and I'm going to be overwhelmed, I think.
Yeah, but you'll be able to just walk out for a little while. Therell be some relief for you.
I hope so.
It's a lot of
I keep
women.
thinking they're just going to like give me the niece is 1,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm going to have the 1-year-old and the 7-month-old, and I'm assuming they're just going to go shopping, and I'm going to
No.
be
It's going to be exhausting.
yeah. They definitely do that.
But the one thing I've learned to pick up is more masculine habits, and you see why these classic masculine pursuits have stood the test of time, because it really makes all of the women go away. Which is like smoking cigars.
Oh, okay.
Or opening up strong scotch, the smell of strong scotch. These are repellent.
So you push them away.
Every girl,
like that.
I just walk around with a cigar hanging out. You're gross, and they run away.
Oh, that's
and then
that's
just sit in the
genius.
backyard, and like they're not gonna come. You're just
Man.
seeing them close the windows into the sliding doors, and like,
That's amazing.
you're the worst.
Yeah.
I'm the best.
Yeah.
I'm by myself.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna
already
be alone
in my
for a
mind's
while.
already running like just start having blow and mud wrestling. Whatever it takes. I'm going to go as far as possible.
A
It's too far.
7-month-old will love mud wrestling.
Yeah.
God, that's good.
You're like, God, she's good. At it.
Yeah,
I
she
see
did-
a future.
She'll definitely embrace it.
Set her up on the wrong path.
How long have you been doing stand-up?
24 years.
Wow.
Actually, yeah, 24 years.
Oh, I thought you were gonna have a birthday. Right?
No, I was just thinking it'll be 24 years in June.
And you
June
started in
12th.
New York, on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, New York.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was the best.
When did you get here at the store? Because I was always a fan, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, Tom Pop's doing spots here. This is awesome.
I just started like 2 years ago, I think.
It's only been 2 years.
Yeah,
right?
maybe 2 years ago.
Adam brought you in.
Adam brought me in.
Yeah.
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 Only
He made
reason I
a-
like Adam.
Yeah.
It was one of the
Somebody
things
else
where
to hate him.
I remember like looking at the lineups and like I'd see new names and I'd be like, oh, so and so's performing here now, and then I'd always give Adam shit. I'm the asshole who'll go in if I see Adam watching someone,
Yeah.
and I'll sit next to him,
Start-
and then when they tell their jokes, I'll explain to him what the joke is, and he'll be like, "Would you please shut the fuck up?" But I went in when the first time I saw you on the lineup, I sat there, and you're very funny, and so I was watching, and then Adam was like, "I don't think I've ever seen you not try and ruin someone's set before."
That's
And I was
great.
like, "Well, I like Tom. He's funny." He was like, oh, okay. And then you just like give me that look like, I don't trust you even more now.
You out because Rick
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it could have worked the opposite
He
way.
made the mistake of being a manager here first, so we all know him in a different light. And then he became this boss.
He was
So
my friend
Rick
before he was the talent
so-
coordinator.
Right.
So now it's like if he, like he's brought in a lot of guys who are like good comics.
Yeah.
But like when he passes a comic who's like an up and coming comic or whatever, and you just it's just immediately like, oh, that was the worst decision you've ever made.
Like,
what am I supposed to do?
Come on, man. I'm giving him a shot.
I'm like, you're bringing in star power. We don't need to bring in new up and coming comics. Let them start
let's
elsewhere.
Stop that. Yeah, let him go to a coffee shop.
Something.
No, but it was really cool because it was one of those places that you know all clubs kind of have these growth spurts and personality changes, and you know I was going to the other clubs a lot, and I would come here every once in a while, and it would be just too weird. It would just be a little off-putting. It was like uncomfortable to hang out. It wasn't.
Like in
There's a lack of
90s or-
professionalism
there's totally.
here for a long time, where it's like, what's going on exactly?
Yeah, and there was like it was just just had a darker mood.
Oh sure.
And when he asked me to come this time, which I think was about 2 years ago, it just was different. It was like, now I'm running into people I know, and there's some people like it just
lighter.
the vibe was different, and now it is by far my favorite place to work.
It's definitely got a facelift, if you will.
It's like a professional club now, as opposed to like, just the dark drug den,
right?
Speakeasy.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
That's kind of how it was. It was like there's one room open usually, and then just like 30 dark rooms filled with debauchery.
Really?
That's
they
how it
would
felt.
just like one show a night kind of thing?
Yeah, for
a while.
the longest time, it was the main room. I don't even know why it existed.
Wow.
Well,
It's so crazy because
Yeah.
now it's almost so busy
packed
it's annoying.
Well, that's what I always tell
I came in last night and I was like, I just want to work on this new stuff. You know what I mean? I don't want to come in and have like Sebastian throwing fastballs and Steve Byrne throwing fast, and then you get up there and kind of stumble around. So because then you have to. So I saw Adam. I'm like, is it nice? Because it was rainy last night. It was
right.
Oh, it's even busy
coming
when
up.
it rains.
Coming up sunset, there was nothing going on. There was no cars. I'm like, oh, this will be perfect. I'm like, is it mellow in there? Yeah, it's mellow. I don't know what he was talking about. I walked in after Eliza, and the place was packed. I couldn't even sit down before my set.
God damn
When
it.
it rains, we always have people here because the hotels, they don't want to go anywhere. So they just empty. Oh, well, let's go see what that place is.
Gotcha.
'Cause I would look forward to it raining when I waited tables here.
Right.
And then I'd be like, oh shit, our roof is broke. So I'd have to put a bucket in between, in the
Yeah.
middle of the table because it was leaking on people. I'd be like, look, we're not used to being open.
Oh, that's hilarious.
This isn't for your beers. This is for the water coming through
That's
the
so
field.
great.
Yeah, when I was younger, I rarely got spots here, but I would
Right.
hang out and party,
Oh, yeah.
and so I thought it was great.
In one of the
Yeah.
dark
And
rooms.
now, like I don't party at all anymore,
Right.
and it's always packed.
Yeah.
And like half the time now, I'm just like, God, I just want there to be somewhere I can hang out and not have to see people.
Yeah, I know. You
It's
feel like squirrel in the back. This is actually the most quiet it's been.
Yeah.
Right now in this room.
Go in the basement.
This is
Yeah.
this is our brings us back.
Yeah, exactly.
So how many years have you guys been around?
I've been here too long. I started in '93 as a waitress,
Ah.
waited tables here for 12 years, left and came back as a comic.
Ah,
Stand up for 10 years.
nice.
Sad, really.
No.
So
Why is that
almost
sad?
As long as you.
Yeah, it's
Just
the
over
same thing,
here making
93.
The wrong decisions.
Sounds all
In
right
the
to
dark
me.
rooms.
Sounds oh, okay.
Yeah, waiting
Secret
tables
message received.
for 4 comics.
No, I was sleeping with the comics. No. But it was fine.
How many comics did you?
Just one.
Just
Well,
one.
One was a door guy, but he never got passed, so we don't call him a comic.
Right.
Yeah, that's
The
Yeah.
other one was Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, really,
We're
Andrew?
gonna Sleep with a comic.
Yeah.
Why not knock down?
Raise the
That must have
bar.
been a fun time.
Well, he was the one that had the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So, and he was always here, so we were always hanging out.
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
Rick's like a brother. Like we all just. He
Right.
was here during the dead years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His career was in the toilet, pretty much.
Right.
So he was here every night trying to. We were filming.
Oh, that's when you met up with him, like when he was
Yeah.
had a bit of a lull.
A little bit of a lull, and he was going through a divorce, and it was
Oh.
just a tough
You
time.
snuck in there.
Snuck right in.
Sweet
I
guy,
did not
nice
sneak
guy.
in there.
Nice guy.
Convinced
Nice.
me he was a nice guy. No, he's a great guy.
Is he a sweet
He's one of
guy?
my best friends.
Is he?
And he's still like one of my closest friends.
It was very shocking to me because I had been on tour with Paulie, and
Right.
it was the worst experience ever of anyone's life, not just mine, of anyone's life.
How long a tour?
I went with them for like a year and a half, different things. Like
Yeah.
we come back here, but
Sure.
weekends and a couple times where we went to multiple cities.
Right.
But it was always the worst experience ever. And then Andrew, Sebastian was his opener.
Oh, okay.
And he was, I can't remember what it was. He was like, had an audition or a callback for a pilot or that TV show Joey, the Friends spinoff.
Sebastian.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So Sebastian had to cancel because he had some sort of a career
Had a big
advancement
shot.
going. Yeah.
Big shot.
And so Dice asked me if I wanted to go, and I went for a couple weeks with Dice, and it was like the nicest experience ever.
Really?
I was so shocked. Like, how did this?
This has been happening this whole time?
Yeah. And he's like all friendly and like a good dad and like this good person. And then he goes on stage and does his thing, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, he's good.
It kept making me go, man, maybe I should not be me on stage.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He seems a lot more successful. Than,
Yeah.
This guy's one
No.
hell of an actor.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was, I said the same thing out loud. I was with Colin Quinn, and I said, and it was when Larry the Cable Guy was really huge, like it had exploded, and I was like, wow, yeah, I mean, if people don't really like you as you, just make a new you.
Yeah.
That sounds like pretty good.
Yeah.
And I this is always like a bad thing of like having like a real moment in front of Colin because he just reads you and rips you apart. And I was just like, yeah, but you know, it'd be weird for my fans to be like, what's he doing now? Really? You have that many fans? No one knows what you're doing. No one knows who you are. You could be anything.
I love when they rip to shreds. Like Colin's one of those guys because I've heard you on Opie video, and they just attack. Everyone just attacks one another.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
That's such beautiful.
And there's some of them are so good at it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and Norton and when Patrice was
Norton,
around
yep.
and
Patrice is great.
Anthony, it was just like, yeah, those guys are really mean and really accurate. That's what makes them so good. They're so... and
you're
Colin,
not even lying. God
yeah,
damn.
it's like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have put this shirt on when I came out. I knew the
Just
cuffs
lobbing
were a little
softballs
too
up for
short.
you.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's like going to school.
Yeah.
But Colin does it at like a different level. Like Colin is like into
I've
your
heard him on
psyche.
there. Yeah.
Like he completely will take your personality out. He knows exactly what's bothering you, and he doesn't do it to like. He won't cut you down like the other guys like and just leave you. He'll just let you know that he knows exactly what your insecurity is. You're like, oh, you're brutal.
Yeah.
You can't say anything without those guys just revealing. But that's what makes them such great comedians. Also, they have no
no boundaries.
no boundaries, and always commenting totally in the moment on you, the situation, and themselves.
Yeah.
And I
Take themselves down too, so it's not as
or just revealing like, oh, look how I'm pontificating right now about how comedians are in this. You know what I mean? Like they're always like on top of it, and you kind of like you forget that sometimes when you're just talking and stuff. It's like no, it's kind of our job to be funny.
Was Colin one of the guys in your class like when you started?
No, he was
already
established?
Because 93.
Yeah. I was watching him on remote control. Colin's really old. I started in '93, and I went to the New York Comedy Club. It was my first open mic, and when I walked in, the only other comic waiting to go on was Greg Giraldo, just sitting there, like sweating, so nervous, totally like a little bunny. And I was like, "Hey, what's up? Why are you so nervous?
What's up with this comedy stuff?"
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna be nervous, and so I became. My class was like Giraldo, Gaffigan, myself, and the people who were like right ahead of us were like Dave Attell and Kevin Brennan and Louis and that whole crop of people.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that was when like Sarah and and all the Mark Maron, all those people. They were like, if they were juniors, I was a freshman. When I came in.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a good crew.
Yeah, Giraldo and Gaffigan, we used to do like little shows at this place called Del Soma's. It was like this little Italian restaurant, like right in the theater district, and you'd go downstairs, like a really nice Italian restaurant. Then you'd go downstairs, and it was like this shimmery, like silver curtain on this little stage, and like I guess some cabaret acts would go in there and do stuff from time to time, and we would just go down there and do these shows. And
awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
No,
they were
just
it was kind of they were kind of slowing up upstairs, and then we'd go down and do these shows. And
what kind of crowds are you getting for the show like that?
Friends. It was like bringer shows,
right.
Our own bringer shows. You know what I mean? We're kind of creating it. And then
bringer before the bringer. Did you have to book and all that?
No. We would just try and get an audience. I don't even remember putting it in that much work at that time for that stuff. You know what I mean? It just kind of. I was started hosting at New York at Stand Up New York.
Oh, okay.
Really quickly. The guy there, and he put me on stage to start hosting shows, and that quickly got me like regular spots at clubs. So I didn't spend a lot of time doing a lot of open mics and stuff.
Oh wow!
Because I jumped really quickly.
You're that funny.
And Gaffigan was weird and quiet, and he was doing like this little character, like you know how he does that little voice, you know? What was he talking about?
Oh yeah.
That thing. He was doing that like. He hadn't worked it out yet. It was just emerging, so it was really weird.
If people were just like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, and I was like, I just have to kill and try and make all these people love me. And I was just going really fast. So I started moving through the clubs quickly, and he just stuck to it, and perfected it. And now he's gigantic.
Yeah,
it really is. It really is a true example of believing in yourself and what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't wavering. He had no idea where he was going, but he just stuck to it.
He knew it was,
and he knew that it kind of, similar thing.
Sebastian,
it just,
no one liked him.
Yeah.
In the beginning, they were like, what is he doing?
The week I had today.
Oh, really?
I just saw someone showed me an old tape, like, you want to see Sebastian bombing? I'm like, what? Yeah. And it's like basically the same thing, but it's just he hadn't quite figured it out yet.
Yeah.
It just came off like this super pretentious dude. And you're like,
funny.
Look at this asshole.
It's interesting to see Gaffigan early on with that.
Yeah.
Like to see that.
Just weird. And he just stuck to it. And then it just kind of like all started to gel, and it becomes like this really unique thing. It's like, I'm sure, like people like that, like Maria Bamford, I'm sure was bombing for years, right? I'm sure.
Had to.
And then
so funny though.
Yeah, and so brilliant, so funny. So but anyway, that was kind of our thing. And Geraldo was like somewhere in the middle. You know, he was just running 100 miles an hour, and so smart and so great.
Quick.
Yeah.
So quick on his feet.
So that was my starting class.
Crew to
run
around the city with. And get good.
And trying,
because you're always just like straight guy, just a
no gay shit.
Telling jokes.
That's not even.
There was a very little gay stuff.
No gay shit. Right, we're not allowed to have that on the podcast. So.
There was in the beginning I was I'd started for like a year or two, and then the girl I was with, her father died, and I left because I stopped doing stand-up because I felt like I had to, you
got to mourn.
I had to take care of her and make money and do the right thing, and so I put it down for a year or maybe two. And Geraldo would call me like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you coming back?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm just trying to work and trying to get some money."
Did you have like a regular job? What were you doing?
Yeah, I was doing advertising.
Oh, okay.
In the small ad agency. I gained 30 pounds.
No.
I was really heavy. My hair was really long.
Yes.
Really long and curly. And I was smoking weed every night.
Yes.
Drinking beer every night. Playing
so
hockey with my friends.
So you went for the comedian lifestyle. You just weren't doing comedy.
I wasn't too right. I was just depressed.
You got a straight job and then just went with that comedy lifestyle.
Right, exactly. But still had to get up early.
Yeah. Brutal.
It was brutal. And I remember literally laying on my sister's bed and saying, "Am I even funny anymore? Am I even?" I just was like with regular people doing. I was just like, what?
It'll drive you crazy being around regular people doing regular stuff.
Yeah, and this was only doing stand up like a little bit, and already I knew.
Yeah,
that's where I belong.
So like
those were your people.
Yeah,
a year or two in, and you were like,
it's tough. Once you're around comedians and like people who think very differently than normal people, it's draining. Like that's how I always felt. It's like being around normal people. I'm just like, God, I can't be me.
If you are you're offending people,
and they just think you're a lunatic of some sort.
Yeah, I was just with the people that were in my house just over this week, and my sister-in-law, she's very sweet, love her to death, but very like takes everything serious, and I'm just like blurting stuff out, and she's like, "Oh no," and my wife's like, "This is just how he talks. He's just kidding.
He's not really a monster."
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's just an act.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm talking about the straight guy. So then when I came back, there are tapes of me, like if you want to see Papa bombing, there's me in like tight jeans, heavy, tight jeans tucked in, the hair, and I would go 100 miles an hour because I was scared, and I didn't want to hear, I would never like wait for the laugh because I was just scared.
Yeah.
And I would lunge. I would kind of lean, like with my knee out, like my bent knee and like a straight leg behind it, and I would kind of lunge and like talk like that, and like it was so bizarre. I have some really great old tapes. And I remember Geraldo taking me.
Dane stole that.
Yeah, stole my essence.
The frat guy. That was
brutal.
Papa the frat guy.
Oh, that's what it felt like. And I remember Geraldo taking me, and I froze one night on stage. I was in the middle of my act, and I froze, and I couldn't remember what the next joke was. Just one of those moments, and I came back. I went out front of the stand-up New York, and I was like, whoa, that was weird. That never happened before. And Geraldo came out, he's like, you write really good stuff. I don't think you need all that other... I don't know if you need to lunge or yell. I don't think you need to do that. I was like, really? You don't think... So then it's kind of slowly got the ship
brought
was
you back
right
to
in.
you.
Yeah.
It's a very strange thing. Aggressive alpha Papa is not necessarily...
Alpha Papa.
I don't feel like that's who you are.
Yeah, it's so weird.
That's awesome.
But don't you feel like there's different yous, like people meet you in different times? Like I was just at Rogan and I didn't have my glasses on. He's like, "Whoa, you going for a new look?" And I'm like, "I've only been wearing these glasses for like 2 years. Like I never had glasses in my life." And but all the people I met since that, they're like, "No, that's you,
Papa on the glasses."
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I used to wear a backwards hat always.
Right.
And when I stopped wearing it, people were like,
freaked out.
"What's up with you, man? What are you going through something?" Like I just decided I'd stop wearing hats. Like I figured you were bald.
Were you going through something?
Yeah, that was the thing.
Why don't you take off your dirty hat?
And people would,
going through something.
And I always had the same shitty hair I have now, but it was just like all you'd see is just like the Dukes of Hazzard flip out of the side.
That's a good look. I know exactly what you're describing.
And so then people would be like, "Oh yeah, I assumed you were balding in the front." I'm like, no, I'm so lazy. I literally haven't brushed my hair in 4 years.
So being a guy that carried that look around for a while, what do you think's going through Judah Friedlander's head at this point?
Wow. I mean, I've only known Judah as the world champ hat wearing dude.
Been many years.
Is he gonna change it?
No, but that's what I'm asking. Do you think there's days where he's like,
I gotta wear it.
I want to leave it home?
He probably does. I was so self-conscious about it at a certain point because anytime I didn't wear it, which would be like 10 times a year, everyone at the Comedy Store, because this was like the only place where I ever performed then, everyone would be like, "Whoa, what's up?"
What's up?
And I had a pretty serious drinking problem too, so I'd be like 6 beers in, I'd be like, "What the fuck you think? What's up? What do you mean?" Just very confrontational.
Do you ever bring it back?
I almost never wear a hat now.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I will occasionally, like, if it's just one of those days where I don't have time to get prepared or whatever.
That got you that Cheetos commercial.
Yeah. Well, it was that sweet mustache that I grew. It took me 4 months, but it eventually grew in.
Nice.
And it looked super creepy. But I started booking commercials, always as like the creepy loser.
That's great.
And I met my wife while I had a mustache.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's what you went for.
And the moment I shaved it, she was like, "Oh, thank God." And it was like 8 months into a relationship. I'm like, "Oh, you didn't like it?" She was like, "It looks fucking terrible."
Wow, that's love. If
Yeah.
she looked beyond that.
True love.
Yeah.
Yeah, holy cow.
I lucked out. I don't know what she was thinking.
Did you have an alter ego when you were younger?
No, I was just
pretty
I
consistent.
Think I was pretty consistent.
Yeah.
I think I've been a mess since I was born. I have 9 brothers.
You
and
rolled
sisters,
with it.
Oh, wow.
So there was you couldn't fake anything.
Right.
Have a weird disguise. It was almost like coming up with comics because I have 6 brothers.
Wow.
So you were getting roasted every second, and so to keep up with them was hard for me. Here is a cakewalk.
Wow.
Going home.
Irish. Oh
Irish,
my God.
Catholic,
So you're just like the Brennans.
Yeah, they're from outside of Philly as well. I've featured for Kevin, and of course I know Neil for
right
here.
Yeah.
But
they're 9
Neil's
also,
10.
right?
Neil's the baby of 10.
Of 10.
And my we grew up in a little South Philly row home, so
wow.
it's just and my mom
all
still
those
lives
kids
in that house.
Really? That's great.
Are there other comedian Brennans other than Neil and Kevin?
No,
I know of.
No, I don't think so. There was one who worked at the comic strip, and he was an actor. Or? Yeah, he was one of the brothers, and he was an actor. I don't know what happened though.
I've only met Kevin. He's a little nutty, and I love that.
Very angry on Twitter.
Yeah,
I only know him from Twitter, but I appreciate his rage.
Is he? Yeah.
I didn't know. I mean, I know Neil before I knew him, and I knew that there was 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I do my act. I was featuring for him with Vinny at Vinny
Club
at the Stress Factory. I didn't think anything of it, and I always make fun of having 6 brothers, whatever.
Sure.
Teasing my mom for having 10 kids, whatever. And he goes, "Who the fuck is this girl with 10 kids coming up? And she's from Philly, but she's tougher than me because she's from South Philly." But so he just spent the first 10 minutes of his act roasting me, and I was like,
I feel so good.
I feel so happy and healthy with a sick Irish family.
He's so funny.
So
he's demented but funny.
They are definitely demented.
Yeah.
And different. We're really tight, like my family, and I think it's because we grew up in such a close. Like my mom was a single mom. My dad left when I was like 8.
Oh
so
wow.
It's like we all kind of.
He left 9 kids.
He left 10 of us.
Holy cow.
Good dad.
Thank God the older
that typewriter store, though. You don't have time.
I grew up in a typewriter store. That's why I don't know anything about it.
He just didn't have time for kids. There's so many typewriters to fix.
Listen, I can't deal with you guys right now. God love him.
Did you...
I'm still close with him.
You are?
Yeah. He only moved a couple blocks away.
He just had to get out of there.
He didn't have a good malt liquor.
Right.
Keep us away.
He couldn't scare you.
Yeah. No cigar.
No one taught him the trick.
Yeah.
He just walked away.
I was told 7 months in. I know the secret already.
Yeah.
I already feel less stressed out just knowing I can just push them away.
Yeah, it's going
to
happen.
On their choice.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
In the 80s, you could just walk away.
Just farting out loud. A big man fart in this delicate flower room. You're going to be completely alone.
I'm going to get booted
So that must have been
tonight.
weird. Like, you would see him around.
Oh, yeah. He only, I always make a joke that I would see him and I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, it's me. Dad, number 8. Dad." And he'd just keep going.
That's
but
amazing.
He really, honestly, I sent my mom Fences, that movie.
Yeah.
Did you get it in the mail, whatever? So she's 78. She's not going to the movies that much anymore. So I send her all the screeners. I'll probably get arrested for that. But anyway,
Mom's not
she was watching it, and she's like, "Hey, I figured out why your dad left. I watched Fences." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Oh, really? So
You think Dad
so
was
he had an
good,
affair?
Yeah, he did.
He had an affair.
And he was having an affair for, I believe, a while.
And then had a baby.
No other kids, thank God.
Because that's what happened in Fences.
Not that
she got pregnant. And she died.
In Fences. That's right. But and then she raised that baby.
Right.
That's something my mom would have done too.
Yeah, one more. Who cares?
Yeah, my mom would have kept him.
Yeah.
She was telling a story. My older sister used to run a daycare, and there was a young girl. She was black and white, and her parents both worked. So my sister used to bring her home all the time, like for the weekend. She would do like longer babysitting. Right. And in my neighborhood, it was very, very racially tension.
Right.
South Philly,
Divided.
very segregated.
Yeah.
So my mom, an old neighbor who hadn't been in the neighborhood for a while, was driving by, and she had heard that my mom had another baby, which this happens all the time.
Sure.
And this was number 10. This was my little sister Edie. So she hadn't been there for a while. She goes, "Oh, I'm going to drive by." And then she waved to my mom, and my mom was sitting on the step rocking Chrissy, this little black girl. And my mom was like, "Oh, she probably thinks they're coming out black now. All right." But she always worried, like, this is Chrissy. It's a long story.
It really is Fences.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It really is close to fences.
But she said there was a line in the play
Mhm.
that Denzel Washington said that she never thought of. That maybe my dad, it was just too much. Went in that line where he says something along the lines of, I'm going to mess up August Wilson's words.
Go
But it
ahead.
was basically like, this was too tough. He wasn't having any, she made him feel special and fun, and it wasn't stress, like, where's the money, where's the food, where's the this, where's the that, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah, I think
Oh,
there's a lot
like-
of guys that I think roll with that theory.
Every guy rolls with that.
A lot of comedians.
When we watched it, my wife was like, "Get over yourself."
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's
That's
not
how I
fun.
was. Yeah.
It's not fun. I remember I had a friend who was going off on the side. They had a bunch of kids, and it was kind of a mess. And he was seeing some girl on the side, and I remember him saying, "And everything's cool, everything." But I remember at one point he said, "She's just the coolest. Like she reads,
Of
like
course
she."
she's cool.
She reads and hangs out and talks about books and stuff. I'm like, yeah, because she has no
She
children.
has no kids to watch. Yeah. She's not.
Of course
She's not
she's
watching
fun.
your kids.
Yeah.
So
Right,
That's how
exactly.
I felt. I was like, screw him. He don't. Of course, it's hard. It's hard. For
Yeah,
him, too.
yeah. No one's enjoying themselves. That's
Yeah.
why you're stuck.
Yep.
He wanted 12 kids. My dad. He's a jackass.
Yeah.
he wanted 12. He got 10. He was like, no, you know what? Change of plans.
Guys, I'm gonna
Oops.
tag out. This was harder than I thought.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Yeah.
That dozen plan was a terrible idea.
Yeah, it sounded cool in the
yeah.
bar.
I regret
Go for
making
a
that
full
decision.
dozen.
Yeah.
I'm never pulling out again.
Oh God, thank God he can have more kids. I do worry sometimes. I meet people and I'm like, oh, they look like us. No.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They look.
It's not like
One of
you
them's
just-
Neil Brennan.
Imagine if my dad had 10 other kids. with
Oh, my
somebody else.
God.
That'd be insane.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
the sitcom right there.
Yeah.
the other
You got to really
The
max
exhausted
it out.
guy.
And they all have to live with each other
Yep.
at the end of the pilot.
10 and 10.
20 kids. Yeah, I was listening to your special. What is it called? The mule. What
Human
is it?
Mule.
Human Mule. That's it. And when you were talking about going to Disneyland or Disney
Mhm.
World, which one do you go to? The real one or
The
fake
Disneyland,
one?
yeah,
Out here,
yeah.
They call that the fake one. But I
Is that
think
true?
It was the first
It's the
one,
new
though.
one.
I
Yeah.
think you're the right one,
Yeah.
but that one.
Took
That one's
over.
better.
or
It's the
something?
better
It's
younger
bigger.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like
I-
Neil Brennan to Kevin Brennan.
We should call it that. Disneyland versus Disney
Your
World.
Disney World.
And so
I'm telling them tomorrow at the audition.
Yes.
By the way, your Disney World, just so you know, your brother's
Thanks, Neil.
Disneyland.
He might have been first, but you're bigger and better.
And we enjoy it. But yeah, you were talking about that, and I was thinking, wow, people go on vacation with their kids. We didn't do that
Right.
growing up.
Yeah.
We would go to Wildwood, New Jersey.
Right.
And my aunt had a shore house, but she also had 10 kids.
Wow.
So it was
Yeah.
just a tribe met a tribe, and we had a meet.
That's amazing, though.
Wow.
Those must have been good
I
times,
can
though.
remember sleeping like head to feet. You
Yeah.
know, where they would just pile the
Slave
kids
ship
up.
Wow.
style.
Sunburnt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sunburnt bug bites.
Oh, beaten.
That's so great.
That's too
It's
funny.
amazing.
But
But I
that-
think about that all the time, like with my kids. It's like you eat, we order in maybe like 2 or 3 times a week. You go out to eat, you go on vacations, you do all that stuff. It's like going like to McDonald's was a huge deal. It was like
Yeah.
we're going out,
Yeah.
or like we're ordering a pizza in. It was like whose birthday is it? Now it's so common. It's
Yeah, just do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm one of 5 kids, and I remember like people would talk about like the fancy restaurant they were going to. It was like 2 kids, whatever. And be like, we're not going there. There's no way we're going there.
Right.
There's no way mom and dad are paying for 7 people to eat at that place.
No
It's like,
way.
called up the Pizza Hut. We're gonna get 3 large pizzas delivered and devour it and feel like we were
Yeah.
living life.
And if there was ever like a party or a reason that you did end up in that restaurant, your father was like, "No,
Yeah,
you're not ordering.
Kids menu for
ki-
all of you.
No, you're not getting a steak.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Chickens.
Steak at
Everyone's
home.
getting
Yeah.
chicken.
You've got waters.
Yeah.
He's got water, yeah. Yeah, he took us to, my dad would take us out on Thursday nights. That was our big night.
That was
Yeah.
Dad's night.
Yeah, and we would go to
How do
Roy
you take?
Rogers.
How do you take
Nice.
out 10 kids?
Well, the
And
upper
shifts.
half was kind of over him already, so it was
Right.
basically the bottom
The
six.
the lower.
Right.
Okay.
The top 4 were like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
it's
traveling.
like, yeah,
what
just
do you got? Like, rent an
graduating.
econo van.
Yeah.
Take the family
we
out.
did have a giant truck, a big truck.
That's
Just
so
load
great.
in the back.
Yeah, we're going.
And my
Fish and
friends used
chips.
to make fun of us, like, where are you guys going? How do you fit in there? I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
My dad I'd be smoking with the windows up. Yeah, let's go, Dad.
Every restaurant moving tables together. The wait staff's like, fuck this family. You know they're not tipping.
Oh my
Irish
God,
scum.
I hope my dad did. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
You're trying. Dad was Pauly Shore in that crap.
Can't carry, yeah.
Wait staff. Dude, I didn't like it, bro. Sorry.
Pauly Shore. I think he did. I hope he did. I'll beat the shit out of him.
He might have.
But yeah, I never even think of that.
Yeah.
My older sister was a waitress. You know, everybody worked kind of in the service industry
Right.
one way or another.
Sure.
So it's just like
Cash money.
We were either lifeguards or waitresses. Cocktail waitresses.
South Philly lifeguards. There's so many sitcom ideas on this podcast.
It's really
out of
blowing
control.
up. Pitch those to Neil when you go into the audition.
Both of us are going to pitch it to Neil.
The lifeguards just hanging out.
The baby.
You have a callback for a commercial or the first one for a call?
It's callback.
Call back.
Yeah.
Why can't they just give it to you? Why do you got to go back?
I know. It's so
I don't know.
annoying.
Who needs a
They're
callback
like,
for a commercial?
Let's see what she looks like again in this.
Right, exactly.
Is
Yeah.
she a mom or is she
Okay.
a grandma?
Well, in the first time, it's always just some guy who you will end up seeing at the callback, and he's just operating a camera. And
Right.
You're like, oh, so this guy's going to get the part, probably.
Right.
Because he's definitely calling himself back.
Good Lord. You have a message coming in?
No, I don't pay any attention. It was Ari. He left, our producer. So he was telling me to turn it off when we're done.
Oh, really?
So that's-
Top
What a
line.
great,
Very
great
professional.
producer. Where does he have to go?
Professionalism. He's a comic, so he probably has a spot somewhere.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
he's like, yeah, I'm going to go and figure it out. Have a good time.
Yeah, you can turn. We're probably not recording.
Good.
Still fun to hang out.
Don't say that because it happened with Greg Fitzsimmons.
Yeah.
Dave Taylor.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed with Fitzsimmons. Dave Taylor, we all worked here
Yeah.
together. I don't even know if you know Dave.
Yeah.
Real tall guy.
Right.
So we were like, we'll have Dave back.
Right.
But Greg, we were like,
Yeah.
we kinda like
He was all
somebody we
promoting
really
his.
like.
He was all promoting his
he was doing
a
benefit.
charity benefit stuff.
Oh, brutal.
So we do it like an hour and 20
Nah,
minutes.
it's all
It's
right.
like,
Yeah, you guys, that's all right.
His little Irish.
Yeah, we'll
way.
do it another time.
Yeah.
The rage
Figure it
just
out.
hanging right under.
You could just tell.
Yeah.
Furious.
It happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
Son of a bitch.
So were you out here working like the improvs and stuff like that when you?
How long have you been in
Did you ever
LA?
show
Yeah.
Mitzi? I guess is what I.
No, I never did.
Never came
I
in
never
for
met
that.
Mitzi. No. I was working Comedy Magic Club. I came out in 2004, like 2002, 2004, and I'd done a spot on Conan, and the people at NBC saw it and asked if I had any ideas for a show, and then I moved it along and got to do a pilot with them. So that started bringing me out, and that was 2004. And then we were back and forth. We kept our place in New York and just went back and forth for years. And we lived there solid for like 3 in the middle of it. Kept my place here, and then we switched it, and then did more here than there, and just went back and forth for a long time. And I just shut down New York like 3 years ago.
Oh wow.
And because once the kids are bigger, they want friends.
Yeah, they want to stay in the same school.
Yeah, they like their teachers.
Yeah.
And at one point, my youngest was like, I've been the new kid every year. I was like, ow.
Damn it.
All right.
I'm a bad father. I get it. Jeez, why didn't you just say it?
Yeah, they were having
That's
fun for
brutal.
a while. But so then, so I've been solid here for like the last 3. But I've been back and forth forever. So when I would first come out, I would do the improv and the Comedy Magic Club a lot.
Mm.
It was a
And-
fun club.
It was fun, and traffic wasn't as bad as it is now. Like literally,
It changed.
in just that time from when I started coming out till now, it's like I would go down there and no sweat from
Yeah.
Studio City. Like it's like a half-hour drive. Now it's an hour 10
At least.
to get down there to do a spot.
I live in Sherman Oaks, right basically where the 101 and the 405 meet.
Right.
And it's a guaranteed hour, no
An
matter
hour.
what day it is.
Yeah,
Just, I mean,
it's brutal.
I'm 40 feet from the on-ramp.
Yeah.
And I get on that freeway and then I just sit.
Sit.
And it's like brutal.
It's such a shame because it's such a good club.
And it's fun. Yeah. And I when I first moved to LA, I moved out in 2002.
Right.
I lived in Manhattan Beach because I came from Kansas, and
Yeah.
I just figured
By the beach.
It's by the
Yeah.
beach. I want
Yeah.
to be by the beach, and
course.
it's all LA, right?
Yeah.
And so
And then you get an audition. It takes you 3 days.
Yeah,
to get
it
up
would take
there.
me forever.
Yeah.
It was the worst, but
Yeah.
that was like the only convenient place, and they would never let me perform.
Wow.
I was terrible, so
Well,
I can't argue with their
yeah.
decision making. But
they were making the right call.
I once I got better, I remember talking to the manager and be like, "Well, yeah, send in your avails, whatever. We'll give you spots." And at that point, I lived up here. I lived like 2 blocks from here.
That's
I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it." And then
it really is a shame.
No.
I mean, it really. Again, coming home is nothing. Coming home,
Right.
20 minutes, half hour, no
Yeah.
problem. But so I was doing that for a long time. Then Laugh Factory and UCB for a while.
I think that's why I saw you in the Laugh Factory. the first
Yeah.
time.
Oh, that's nice of you. I really like that. I really like Jamie. He's a good guy. And then
always tears me down. That Jamie.
Yeah.
yeah, and then started coming here over the last couple. And now I'm like, I haven't even. Now it's here in Largo mostly.
Oh, Largo's great.
Yeah. And
That's a fun spot.
it's really fun and very different. It
Mhm.
really is totally different. You know, the crowds are different. The acts are different.
But they get great crowds and great acts.
Yeah, no, it's really fun. But it's funny, like that shift, like you just kind of
Yeah.
whatever's comfortable and you like at that time. I remember at one point I was at UCB and Bob Odenkirk. I was like, I had to run out to go do a Laugh Factory spot. I was like, why would you go there? Why? Why would you do that? I'm like, I don't know. A spot's a spot, right? And he's like, no, I don't think so.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
If you're an open micer, I guess. But
Yeah.
I forget he does stand up or did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like he doesn't do the regular circuit, so you don't think of it.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
would be
you
like
know how
UCB
funny-
or Largo kind of a guy, and really funny and creative. But
So funny.
now such a great actor and
yeah, he's so good.
producer, and he's so good. But so I just like bounce around, and this one really feels the most New York to me. Like when New York,
Now it's-
the Cellar is where I would just work every
Yeah.
single night, and like they're just running shows here every night, and it's not like, oh, this is the Asian kids night and this is a special thing, someone took
Right.
over the room for whatever.
Right.
It's just a
It's
show every night.
Comedy show every night.
It's just so
And comedians.
yeah,
And,
it's the only place in town that does that.
yeah.
And I think we're fortunate here at the store to have the other rooms because if they want to have the Asian night,
Right.
they can have it.
They just
Yeah.
put
in
it
the
somewhere
other room
else.
or in the main room
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Because
Yeah.
we used to have theme nights in the belly room. That was her big thing.
Right.
My favorite when I first started here was the gay night. It was Wednesday night, and we would fist fight over that shift because it was like
Yeah.
we would make great money.
Right.
And it was constant. you
Right.
know, And so they did have like a few theme shows. Then she started doing them in the main room. This is Mitzi.
Yeah.
Sure, she would do It's Fun to Be a Jew.
Right.
And,
Very
That's
creative
funny.
with the names.
Yeah.
a thousand Guidos. I
Classic.
used to have to put the red and white picnic table thing.
Oh,
all
that's
over the
funny.
tables in the main room.
That's
Like,
great.
Oh, God.
She
But we
just
would
had a
get-
vision.
That's
I would
great.
make good money on those
Yeah.
nights, too, because whomever she would hire to, like, there was this guy, Luca Planca, and he had a radio connection. So he would do that, and then he would get, like, big names. Sometimes
Yeah.
Irera would do it.
Right.
Dice did it, and he's like, I'm not Italian, I'm Jewish. I do the fun Jewish show.
Yeah. You
Like,
look Italian.
I know.
Italian enough.
But Luca insisted, and then so it was like this whole thing, whatever. But it was fun because then we'd get crowds.
Yeah.
Jackie Moriarty used to come
Yeah.
all the time, so it was like a cool little extra thing
That's
during
great.
the dark years.
Right, right.
Is what we
Yeah,
do.
well, that's the
We call
thing.
it
When you're
dead years.
hustling, yeah. I mean, that's why at times the improv would, start doing
Selling
it,
out
and then
to
when
that.
and it's a mistake though because the audiences get trained. They know if they're coming here now that they're going to see a solid show every night.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Professional
and
comedian.
That
that
has
used
never
to
changed.
and it used to be the improv was that way for a long time. And once you chip away and start
Yeah.
making it an unreliable, unpredictable thing,
Yeah.
you don't have that allegiance. The people don't come to
Yeah.
see. That's a
Because they'll go. I went there a month and a half ago, and it was awful. There was one funny comic, and
Yeah.
then like 6 people you'll never see again.
that hurts.
And that, by the way,
It hurt us.
they won't
too.
let me
Yeah.
perform on those shows either. So just think about letting me be one of those terrible 6.
Come
That's all I
on,
want.
Popeyes. Come on, Popeyes.
Once I get that Popeyes credit, it's easy street for me.
His daughter's career is riding on
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's good though. When
Educational-
the first year or 2 of a child, things start happening for you because you.
How Magical told me that.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
it's true.
I
Baby comes with a
I did my
loaf of bread
first
under each arm.
Yeah. I did my first TV appearance. I'm Dying Up Here.
Yeah.
And that happened like a month and a half after the kid was born.
It's weird.
And I didn't even audition for that, so.
The day, the pilot I was talking about that brought me out here from Conan and all that was the night that my daughter was born.
Wow.
Yeah, it happens that way.
And that was, what was the name of that?
Come to Papa.
Come to Papa.
Which is the name of my podcast now because the TV show didn't last that long. And it was such a fun name. I'm like, I'm going to make this into my podcast. But
it's perfect. Come to Papa.
Yeah, it's good.
I didn't see the show.
No, well, nobody did.
Person, but I worked
it was years ago. Nobody did.
What year was it?
It was 4 episodes in the summer. They just burned it off after different presidents changed, and it was a whole story there. But
what year was it when that was on?
2006, probably.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Oh yeah, I wasn't slinging drinks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know.
Somewhere else. But I remember the name of it, and now that you call your podcast that, I guess that's why I think of it like, oh yeah.
Yeah, come to Papa. Yeah, it's just that thing.
I love just your eyes peeking out.
Yeah.
When you record stuff too.
Yeah, it's my Instagram.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. It's so much. A photo comes out so much nicer if you don't see your weak, expressionless mouth. If you just do the eyes up, it's always a good shot.
Yeah.
Anything makes you down, wonder. It's like, what? This guy's a mess.
I want more. What am I not seeing?
Yeah. He must be having a good time.
Or he's the creepy guy looking in a window. Either way, I like it.
Either way, I'm going with it.
Yeah, because I see you do. I don't know if it's Instagram. Oh, maybe it's All Things Comedy because you're on All Things Comedy.
Yeah.
So I see it on their websites where you're like doing.
The logo, but the Instagram is it's on the Instagram.
But you do videos like in the green room, in the main room, and you're like, this place is haunted. Like, oh,
yeah. Yeah, you must have some good haunted stories.
A lot of it we set up.
Because
it was. I mean, I would hear things or whatever. I've gotten been in the main room, ladies' room, and it's gotten freezing cold. Where I'm like, oh shit.
Right.
I brought one of the comics. I was watching one of the comics' dog. This is how slow we were. I was watching his dog while he was on stage. And
while you were waiting tables?
Yes. I had a lot of chores. I would babysit. Some of the girls would bring their kids. We would leave them in the kitchen. The waitresses would take turns watching them.
Funny.
And now she's like,
hilarious.
My son's going to be 21. I'm like, don't ever call me again. Shit. But, so yeah, we would do all kinds of stuff. But I took the dog in. And his name was Bark Dog.
Right.
And comics.
Great name. Very creative.
Good writing.
The dog went in there, and as soon as I brought him in, he was like, ah! And he freaked out. He went flying down Sunset. No idea.
Really?
What the hell that dog saw? I was like, Todd's going to kill me because his dog is sprinting down Sunset. I can't catch him. And
did he come back?
Yeah, finally.
Jeez.
Finally, Todd came off stage and was yelling.
Was it the Todd?
Yeah, the Todd.
Oh.
The Todd.
That's as close to a ghost story as I have. Is that Todd guy?
Oh, really? Was he bad news?
He went crazy.
Oh yeah, legit.
He had a lobotomy. So he was like one of the last people in America.
Oh my God.
He had it was a lobotomy.
I just know he sold blow to like Robin Williams and these guys in the 80s.
Wow.
There's a headshot in the front hall of the original room of Robin Williams standing with some guy. So one night I asked Argus, I go, who's this guy in this photo? And he's like, oh, that's the Todd. And I'm like, who's the Todd? And so he tells me this whole story. This guy used to sell blow.
Yeah.
He went crazy, so he doesn't come around anymore.
He was very funny.
Jeez.
So
he was?
Oh yeah.
So then one night, I'm working the door here. That was when I started here, I worked the door, and this nice older lady came up to the back, which was already out of place because at that point we didn't have people in the shows ever.
Yeah.
And the people who came around were basically like
not nice
addicts and like crazy people just attracted to blinking lights on a black building. Yeah. And so this nice old lady comes up to the back door and she's like, I'm looking for my son. And I'm just like, well, okay, what's he look like? Well, he has a beard. He used to be a comic here. He has some mental problems now, but usually when he runs off or gets lost, sometimes he shows up here. I was like, well, I haven't seen anyone. So then a little later, Don Barris shows up and he's like, yeah, so I was hanging out with Todd and we were at Amoeba. And the next thing you know, he had ran off, and I don't know where he went. I'm just like, okay. So don't really think anything of it. Just like It's fun. Don's hanging out with the crazy guy.
Yeah.
And he escaped, basically, was the
Her best
the
friend.
plot. And so then about 4 hours go by, and we close up, and part of my duty was to go turn the power off, the switchboards in the main room. So I go back to the fuse box, whatever, in the green room, and I open the door, and lights are all out, and I turn the light on, and there's just a dude standing in the corner, facing the corner.
No.
And I just freak out. I'm just like, what the fuck? And I go running out of there. And I go to the manager's office. I'm like, there's some fucking dude in there. And bro, the manager is this guy, Dean, at the time. He's like Paulie's buddy from high
They
school.
grew up together, yeah.
He's just like, dude, what are you talking about? I'm like, there's a fucking crazy guy in there. And he's like, is it Todd? I'm like, I hope it's Todd.
Yeah.
That's the only explanation that isn't going to end with me murdered. So we go back in there,
weird.
and he was just still standing in there. Just lights had come on, 5 minutes had gone by.
God.
So then we
it's
called
just-
Todd's mom, and
What's so scary about that story
So
is
many
that
things.
it shows how sick we all are in a way, because like he goes crazy, has mental problems, gets a lobotomy, and his brain's just like, I have to go back to the comedy store.
Yeah, I know.
I have. That's the only place you could do.
Comedy store. They'll still accept me there.
I saw a thing on Alzheimer's on HBO, and this guy was like a clown, and he would do like, he had a little TV show, and then he became like a live clown at like birthday parties and stuff, and he's losing it. He's in his 80s, and he has Alzheimer's, and every day, as around 4 o'clock, the sun starts going down a little bit, he starts getting ready for his show. He hasn't had a show in years. He starts getting his things and talking to his wife, going over his set list. Yeah, I think I might try this one tonight. And she has it all together. Yeah, Hong Kong. And she's like, yeah, good for you, honey. I think they'll love that. And he's just like us with the set list and getting ready. And then she would just walk him into his bedroom and lay him on the bed, and he'd go to sleep until the next day. But you're just so used to doing spots all the time.
Yeah.
That's all your brain knows to do.
His mind, he's walking around Sunset. He's like, it's dark. It's pretty close to midnight. I should probably head to the comedy store.
Where else am I going to go?
Yeah.
Oh,
and you know what? Probably have a spot in the main room tonight. I see all the lights have turned off. I'll just go backstage and get ready.
He was more of an OR comic.
I'm so sick.
That's what Mitzi would call him back then. He's an OR guy.
He's an OR guy?
Room. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Room was a different
Like
kind
the
of thing.
That was a higher level.
That was the higher
paid
level
regular.
stuff, right?
And Todd was did all this crazy, bizarre
Blow.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, he was funny. He would destroy.
He
that
would,
room.
yeah.
But then when he went a little nutty, I felt bad because he would come here, he would stand in the kitchen sometimes, and he would just take the glasses off the bar and just slam them on the floor. And so I was like, Todd, I try to be real sweet.
Enough.
Jar his memory. Listen, we're broke. And, we can't afford that. He's gonna get mad. Like,
it's so weird. Like when people always say, like when they see the pictures in the hallway of like, oh my God, it's so scary. Like what happened to these people?
Yeah.
That's gonna be us. And but
so glad my picture's not on the wall.
there's a story behind everybody. You know, everyone is like went crazy, on drugs, chased women, died,
became a weatherman.
Right.
Fritz is up there.
Fritz is still going.
Every time I see Barry Sobel's photo, I'm just haunted. Just the scariest moments of my life.
Because he's standing behind you.
Always. Oh, Jesus, Barry, what are you doing here?
Looking at my shot, huh?
God, you're a young man.
Want to hear me do it as a black guy?
Yeah.
Well, we've set up like jokes where we had a manager. Some comics, oddly enough, came in as a manager.
Yeah.
So we would like mess around and sit while he was closing things. We would knock things over, and you'd see him run out. Like, fuck this place, man.
That's so
like,
great.
So stuff like that we preyed on.
Yeah.
But there were little things like I'd be sitting in Mitzi's office doing work with her, and the radio would just go off or on.
Wow.
Loud, and she'd be like, Jesus Christ, screaming at them. I'm like they're going to listen.
Yeah, that's
They
great.
want the music on. They like music.
There goes.
Yeah, Carl LeBeau is a great guy to have on. We had him on, and he tells insane stories. Like
Really?
ghost stories.
Yeah.
That's great.
Here.
Yeah.
And they were really high.
And I was gonna say, and they were
really high.
I've never met anyone who has I saw a ghost sober story.
Right, exactly.
So
dig
Yeah.
deep enough, and you realize.
Everyone is. It's always like, and there is 100% spirits there, and you could feel them. And I was on so much blow, it was crazy.
Right, yeah,
Like,
exactly.
wait, hold on. You were feeling the energy, were you? Okay.
All right, guys, I got to go do a
Yeah,
show.
I noticed. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Do you
Come to Papa.
do you have Twitter, all that stuff?
Yep, on Tom Papa on Twitter and Instagram.
Okay.
And Come to Papa is my podcast. That's every week. And then I also do these live shows, Come to Papa, which is like a Prairie Home Companion kind of a show.
Oh, that's awesome.
I do that once a month, and that comes out on Sirius and the podcast. So,
Cool.
All right.
yeah.
Check it out.
Thanks for having me,
being on.
guys. This was
Appreciate
really cool.
it, man.
I'm glad it finally worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. And you
I'll
know,
come back again.
you can always hang out down here if you want to get away from the people.
I have to. I'm not kidding when I say this is more comfortable waiting for a spot than up there.
That's true.
Up there, I have to pretend to be reading my notes, but people won't talk to me. Here, you just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
No one's looking down.
Just burn bridges. That's how I stay away. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm Rick Ingram.
I'm Eleanor.
Come to the Comedy Store. Bye, guys.